Well. Clemson Tiger fans, college football fans, welcome back to another episode of the All In Show right here on Clemson at the Voice of College Football. Thank you so much for joining me. Got a jam-packed show for you guys tonight. Going to talk a little recruiting, going to talk some rev sharing, going to talk college football 26 dropping this month. That's going to be exciting. And obviously, we're going to talk recruiting and everything like that as well. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, stick around. We got all of that and more coming up in tonight's episode. But if you are not subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button for us. Get us closer and closer to that 6,000 subscriber goal, and that would be greatly appreciated. Like this video, share this video with all of your college football friends, family, whoever you know that consumes college football content. Send them our way. We'd love to have them as a part of the channel. That would be greatly appreciated as well. Hit that like button, especially on these live videos. It helps us out as well. So with all of that said, and without further ado, I'm going to bring on my co-host, Jordan Bowman. What's up, Jordan? How you doing tonight?
Good, man. Just glad to be back. Glad to be starting the show at a normal time because obviously last week was kind of a fiasco for both of us. So it's good to be back on schedule. Hope you've had a good week. Well, I know you kind of had a week to remember. But I hope things are going to be better for the rest of the week. Happy 4th to all of you guys. So hopefully you guys are having fun, staying safe. Maybe if you're going to shoot fireworks, please. I do not want to have anybody show up in the live chat next show saying they're typing with one hand because they blew their other one off. Like just be responsible.
That's right. But
hope everybody has a fun 4th of July tomorrow, and stay safe.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Happy 4th of July weekend to everybody. Happy Independence Day. Go have your fun. Get out on the boat. Go to the beach. Sit by the pool. Have a barbecue. Shoot fireworks. Roast s'mores. All that fun stuff, man. But stay safe, guys. It's gonna be a good weekend. I've been just full transparency for all you guys out there. Been under the weather this week. Ever since I got back from Myrtle Beach for my daughter's softball tournament last weekend. Something jumped on me and been running a fever pretty much all week. Today's kind of my first day where I haven't ran a fever yet today. Still keeping medicine in me and all that kind of stuff. So feeling much better, and hopefully it continues to trend up that way. But that stuff's unimportant. What I'm looking forward to is the show tonight, chopping it up with Jordan, you, and everybody out there in the comment section. About our Clemson Tigers and college football as a whole.
Absolutely, man. Feels good to be back in the saddle. Hopefully we settle into this 7:00 time slot because, it's good to have some consistency. I know the people, that's what the people want.
That's right.
And we want to give the people what they want.
That's right. What the people want, the people get. So let us know what you guys think of this time slot. Let us know what you think of the day. So we can, have your guys' feedback as well. So we'll try to settle into this and, carry it out as far as it goes. All right, guys, before we jump into the show tonight, we got quite a few topics to get to tonight. Some exciting stuff, some not so exciting stuff, some kind of, we'll see how it goes stuff. But before we get into all that tonight, it's going to be a heavy recruiting show, obviously. We're going to talk some college football 26. Those of you out there that like the video game, we're going to go over some ratings for some of our top named Tigers and see how we feel about that. And, talk about some stuff about the game. And then, we'll obviously get to your guys' questions at the end. But before we lead off the show tonight, shout out to the comment section. John Sarian, one of our longtime viewers and one of our moderators in here first tonight. Thank you so much for being the first comment tonight. Appreciate you. Intelligent Savage 629 in here as always. Thank you, my brother. I appreciate you. And who else do we have? Author Moss, a new channel member. Thank you so much for
yes, sir.
Supporting the channel in that way. Really do appreciate that. So shout out to Author Moss and supporting the channel in that way. I appreciate you.
Yeah, well, awesome, man. We love that. We love channel memberships. We're definitely trying to push that more. It's a great way to support the show. And so, Arthur, sincerely, we greatly appreciate it. And we're glad that you think enough of us to support us in that way. So thanks, man. And we will be doing members only content. So y'all make sure to stay tuned for that.
And we got Jared Clark that just popped into the comment section as well. So thank you guys all for being here. But with that said, Jordan, let's go ahead and kick off the show tonight. Let's go ahead and get started. We got quite a few things to get to, and I know we like to spend quite a bit of time at the end with our comment section. So let's go ahead and get it started tonight. And we're going to start with our most recent commitment. Obviously, I said this would be a recruiting heavy show. The 2026 class for the Clemson Tigers has been a class to remember so far. We hope that it continues to gain momentum. We'll get into that and just a few minutes into the show about some future possible commitments. But right now I want to focus on Keshawn Stancil. He is the 20th commitment of this 2026 class, a class that sits securely inside the top 10 right now. Hopefully we can do enough to finish just inside that top 10. That's the hope anyway. But Jordan, tell us a little bit about Keshawn Stancil. We talked about him on last week's show. We knew his commitment date was coming up this past Saturday. It came. He committed. He shut it down for the Tigers. So what should Clemson fans expect with the commitment of Keshawn Stancil, and what does this mean for this Clemson Tiger football team? What are they getting in this guy and this big-time defensive tackle commitment?
Yeah, Keshawn Stancil, out from Clayton, North Carolina. It's over by where my dad grew up, so I'm very familiar with that area. Keshawn is a guy that, when you watch his tape, his first highlight is him blowing up a screenplay from the 3-tech position and running all the way out to the flat and blowing it up. He is a phenomenal athlete. I think his combination of size and speed is obviously what you want ideally in a defensive tackle. It's rare to find, but when you can get a guy like that, it definitely means a ton and it does a lot for your defense. I think this is a really big time commitment for Clemson. His recruitment was kind of one that, had to go through some ups and downs in terms of, just being in the position to be able to get his offer. That's why he got offered late and ended up taking his official visit getting his official visit in the middle of June. There were some things that he had to satisfy in order to make Clemson more, continue to push that relationship further. And to his credit, he absolutely did that. And as a result, Clemson is getting one of the best defensive tackle prospects in the class. Keshawn is a kid that I think is going to be a great addition. And I think he solidifies this defensive line class in a big way. We talk about, what you already have committed in Cam Cody and J.R. Hardrick. And of course, the biggest until that point, Dre Quinn. Now Keshawn Stancil, it really solidifies that class. And you still got one big fish out there on the board that we'll talk about in a bit. Obviously, a lot of news surrounding that one. But yeah, Keshawn is a massive get. So what do you think about him?
Yeah, big 4-star commit for Clemson, first of all. You always love to see that. Stars don't mean everything, but they mean something, right? And Keshawn is definitely an example of that, checking in at 6'3", 270 pounds. He's big. He's athletic. He's a tackle for loss machine. When you turn on the film and you look at him, he's just consistently blowing up plays in the backfield. He gets after the quarterback, puts up really good sack numbers as well, even on the interior of the defensive line. And that's not always easy to do because most of the time, your 3 techniques and stuff like that, you're eating up blocks, right? You're that guy that's eating up bodies so the linebackers can eat, right? And the secondary can eat and things like that. But this guy just has an effect on the football field. You can tell when Keshawn Stancil's in the game, right? So couldn't be more excited about this guy. He's a big frame guy already. Can't wait to see what this Clemson strength and conditioning staff get to do with him. Can't wait to see what the Clemson defensive line coaching staff get to do with him as far as, hand techniques and counter moves and stuff that he can still develop with. I think he's going to be a really big time defensive lineman in the future for the Clemson Tigers, and I'm excited that he's a part of this class. You kind of hit it on the head when he kind of like anchors this kind of defensive line class, and that's really what you're getting out of Keshawn Stancil.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if you guys tuned into his live commitment. It was pretty funny. He's a really, really entertaining kid to get to listen to. Mm-hmm. He went on Instagram Live, and there were so many people that were talking, giving speeches and stuff. You could tell, like while he was looking at the camera, that he was ready to just announce where he was going and be done. So I love that. He knew where he wanted to be, and as soon as Clemson really started pushing the issue with him, it was pretty much a done deal when he took that official visit. So, you always want guys that want to be Clemson Tigers, and he was one that pretty much from the jump wanted to be a Clemson Tiger, and it certainly helps that he's a phenomenal recruit to boot. So excited for this edition. I think he's a guy that can help you in a big way with so much you have leaving next year. So I'm excited to see him on the field and excited to see what he does in his senior campaign.
Yeah, absolutely. Great get for the Clemson Tigers. Clemson fans, you should be excited about Keshawn Stancil. If you have not, I encourage you to go watch his tape. I promise you, if you're not excited, you'll get excited after you watch his tape.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Jordan, let's go ahead and flip the page to what everybody's talking about around Clemson boards and on the internet and around the college football online community that we're a part of, Twitter, wherever you consume your college football content. This is a hot ticket item right now. The recruitment of Bryce Perry-Wright. We've talked about it in length on this channel for several months. And Clemson has been in a really good place for majority of that time that we've been talking about his recruitment. He was on the official visit weekend way back at the end of May, beginning of June timeframe, just over a month ago. He was on campus, had a great time, had great things to say about the Tigers exiting that. Obviously didn't shut down his recruitment, just like you and I thought he wouldn't, right? Went on to have official visits. And now there's a little bit of noise. We've been feeling good. His original commitment date was set for July 4th, which would have been tomorrow. Since then, this week, he has pushed it back one day to July 5th, which will fall on this Saturday. He'll do his commitment on July 5th instead. And there is suddenly quite a bit of noise out of the Texas A&M camp. There's some national media types that are saying that they have, quote unquote, flipped him or they've swayed him over to Texas A&M side. So I'm sure there's a lot of worried Clemson Tiger fans out there. I'm sure there's a lot of uneasiness amongst the fan base right now. So tell everybody what is going on with the Bryce Perry-Wright recruitment as it stands right now, 7:27 on this Thursday afternoon.
Yeah, this is a turn that I think Clemson certainly didn't really expect. I will say that. But yeah, the rumors, the smoke is very much real, and I think I've talked about this recruitment every time I've mentioned Bryce Perry-Wright. I've said this is a priority guy. This is arguably the most important guy that you need to land with everything that you have in your favor in terms of connections. His first cousin is Grady Jarrett. He is the nephew of Armand Mason, walk-on defensive end. He's been around Clemson basically his entire life. He's got Clemson family members. He's he's had the longest relationship with Clemson. There were a lot of things that, were pointed toward Clemson being the favorite. But obviously when you involve the Texas schools, which he took visits to both of them, you always run the risk of, certain factors being more prominent in his recruitment. And unfortunately, it's not always up to the kid as well. It's not always just the kid that's being enticed by these things. Sometimes it's people in his circle. And I definitely think that's the case here. So I want to preface that with before I kind of dive into what I think and what I think is going to happen. I really do think that he's probably going to pick Texas A&M. But I do think that this is probably going to end up being it's probably going to be one of the bigger recruiting misses that Clemson has had in quite some time. I do think that while this is not an ender for Clemson's recruiting class, I do think this is one that's going to be a really, really big loss if it does end up coming to pass. I will say that as far as I know, he has not informed either staff of a decision yet. But there definitely is a lot of smoke in A&M's camp right now. So I don't want to sugarcoat it. I don't want to say, oh, it's nothing. Clemson is just going to be fine. He's going to end up in the class. I'm certainly concerned. So I definitely think there's a real chance that he picks A&M on Saturday, but I also don't think Clemson is out of it yet, and they still have time to make their move. And if I were the one making the decision, I would do whatever it takes. Whatever final pitch that Clemson has in their pocket, I think you got to go all in, because I think this is a recruitment that, while it's not, like I said, it's not the end of the world if you lose it, it is a massive hit towards your class. I mean, this is arguably the most important recruit left on the board, and it would do wonders for the state of your class when it ends up when we get to signing day. It's a 5-star. You don't have any 5 stars committed, so and obviously with recruiting rankings, they go a long way.
This was going to be kind of Clemson's centerpiece, right? To not just the class, but kind of the defensive line. That was going to be the centerpiece, the commitment of Bryce Perry-Wright and what he would mean to this class. It would quite literally mean, going from a very, very good class to, making it a special class, a recruiting class, right? So I don't think that can be understated. These are kind of the unfortunate things when it comes to recruiting, right? The ebbs and flows of recruiting, the ups and downs, the left turns out of nowhere that you never expected to happen. I mean, for months now, we've been feeling really, really good about Clemson's chances of landing Bryce Perry-Wright and him, shutting it down and committing to the Tigers and ultimately becoming a Clemson Tiger. Now that seems a little bit more less likely than it has in recent months. But like you said, Clemson is not 100% out on this. I think there's a lot of truth to the rumors out there about Texas A&M. I do think this has to do with money. I do think it has to do with a large offer from Texas A&M, a large offer that, frankly, Clemson can't match. Let's just be completely honest there, and know who we are from an NIL collective, and we cannot compete with the numbers that Texas A&M can throw around, right? Like those, it just is what it is, right? But that doesn't mean we can't do other things to try to entice him to stick to what I believe he originally wanted to do, which was come and play and become a Clemson Tiger, right? So it's not over yet. Still got a couple days. Anything can happen. But like you say, Jordan, the smoke is real. It would be a massive hit to the class. if we lose him. It'd be a massive hit. I still got some hope. I still don't think it's over. But I would be lying if I said I felt great about the recruitment right now. But hey, maybe it ends up being like like the last head-to-head recruitment with Texas, right? And there's a whole bunch of chatter, and it ends up being nothing. I think there's a little bit more substance to this chatter on Texas A&M's part, but again, Clemson's not out of it, and let's hope that Bryce Perry-Wright and chooses to become a Clemson Tiger, and we can pull out this recruitment, because it would be an epic win if they can get him to shut it down and commit to the Clemson Tigers.
Yep, absolutely. And that's that's really what it comes down to. I mean, this recruitment it's not over yet. I will say that. And I don't think, something tells me either staff is going to know really before the day of, at the very earliest. But Texas A&M is confident. They've put together a really strong offer, and they've done a lot to sway kind of the tides in that recruitment. I definitely think it's going to be either Texas A&M or Clemson. I don't think Miami. I think Miami is definitely on the outside looking in at this point. I really do think it's a Texas A&M, Clemson final two. Even though Miami tried to make a late push earlier in the week, I really do think it's A&M or Clemson. So we'll see what happens. If he ends up picking Clemson, obviously that is a massive addition to the class. Like I said, arguably the most important player on your board from a connection standpoint. And obviously with everything that you're losing after next year, you'd be adding a really elite talent into your defensive line, guy that I think could definitely play early with his versatility along the line. And I can see him playing defensive end. I could see him kicking inside. He can kind of do it all. And that's how Clemson and really all the schools that are recruited him have been pitching to him. So we'll see what happens. I definitely don't think Clemson is going to go quietly. They're going to try to put together their best foot, or their best, final pitch, so to speak, and see if it's enough.
Oh yeah, we'll see. Keep your ears peeled, keep your eyes peeled. This will undoubtedly be a huge announcement whenever it happens on Saturday, whichever way it goes. It'll be huge news regardless. Let's hope that the Tigers come out on top of this one. But again, we shall see. All right, guys, we got 29 people in the live chat right now. Thank you guys so much for being here. Hit that like button if you have not already. And we will be right back after a word from our very own Mark Rogers.
You can make a difference here at the Voice of College Football. Use the Amazon link. Financially contribute to the Voice of College Football without spending a penny. Same shopping experience. It's easy. Go to any video on any channel. Go to the description section and grab the link right next to the capital letters that say Amazon. Use that link, and Amazon will instantaneously convert to your account, settings, history, everything intact, just like whatever link you use right now. No difference. Pay no attention to the product that you see right there. Just go search what you want. Don't forget the Amazon link. Thank you for your support. Sincerely, the Voice of College Football.
All right, you heard Mark there. Go check out the Amazon link. Anytime you're shopping on Amazon, help the channel out. Just copy and paste that Amazon link into your order. It changes nothing for you. All it does is help out the channel and the rest of the Voice of College Football. So your help with that would be greatly appreciated.
John asked, is Bryce Perry-Wright still announcing from his agent's offices? Yeah, in Las Vegas. I will say, like, the movement from the 4th to the 5th has nothing to do with anything that's happened this week. It was solely a logistics thing from people that wanted to be there. It was originally scheduled for the 4th, but there were some things that needed to that weren't going to work out that date, so he moved it a date. But it has nothing to do with A&M, and all of that. It would have been moved regardless. So I will point that out.
Yeah, absolutely. It is interesting, a Las Vegas announcement.
Yes.
Sounds expensive.
That's high school recruiting nowadays, man. It is what it is.
Yeah, we went from a folding table with a dollar store tablecloth and some helmets and jerseys and maybe a background to dudes flying out to Las Vegas to commit. Man, we live in a wild world of college football. That's all I have to say. We live in a wild world of college football.
Yeah, we do.
Wow. I'm not mad at it. Like it's just like it's wild. The transition that we have been on for the past several years. All right, Jordan, another big thing in the world of college football is revenue sharing. We've been talking about it for probably over a year now, honestly, the House settlement and revenue sharing and what it would look like if and when it ended up passing. Well, as we know, it has passed. It's been ruled on. It's been approved by the courts, and it officially begins now. July 1st was when revenue sharing officially started in college football. So we have now transitioned into a world of college football where universities are now paying college athletes directly, not through NIL collectives, not through boosters, not through scholarships, but direct cash to the athletes for playing whatever sport they're playing for that university. That in and of itself is a crazy concept. If you would have floated it out, 5, 6, 7 years ago, maybe. But now it's the reality that we live in. So what does this rev share mean for college football and more specifically Clemson and how they're going to use it? You hear the reports out there of roughly $20+ million to the athletes, and it's up to the schools how they divvy it out based on the sports and the revenue generating sports versus the non-revenue generating sports and all that kind of stuff. So what have you heard about how Clemson's going to handle this and what, real effects is this going to have on, say recruiting, which is a segment we just got done with, and how does this affect the landscape of college football?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big thing. Hopefully there comes some more guardrails and some more guidelines and maybe some more stability. It's probably wishful thinking, knowing what some potential ramifications of this could be. From a Clemson standpoint, I expect the lion's share to go to football, probably more so than even some other schools. I don't know if you saw the recent quote from Brad Brownell, but he was talking about how basketball is going to get about 11%, which compared to a lot of the schools in the ACC is actually low. I think it tells you kind of where the priorities lie for Clemson in terms of the athletic department. So, from a football standpoint, I definitely expect Clemson to be competitive from a rev share standpoint. I think they're going to be able to, pitch that to recruits. Hey, football is we're getting, this much, and compared to some other schools, like we give our football players even more of that revenue than, and I think it's something that doesn't surprise me. Dabo has talked about it. He's been so excited about it, talking about what it's going to mean for Clemson. Nobody's going to have more money than Clemson and all that. So I do think it's going to mean a ton from a recruiting standpoint. It doesn't mean NIL is going to go away. Some people seem to think that, oh man, this is just going to be a replacement for NIL. No, NIL is still going to be a factor, but it definitely lessens the emphasis and the urgency in which these schools, and also kind of the shadiness in which some of these schools were implementing their NIL. Obviously, if you saw leading up to July 1st, there were some schools that were kind of emptying the tank a little bit on their NIL collectives because they had all that funding money that they wouldn't be able to use anymore. And Michigan, Texas A&M, schools like that have really, really kind of emptied the clip, so to speak, and just to make sure to get some deals locked in before the rules changed. But now I think we're at a point where I think recruiting I think there's going to be some more transparency there, which at the very least is good for the immediate health of the sport. At least things will be somewhat above board. And I say somewhat somewhat is doing a lot of the heavy lifting in that sentence, but any sort of progress at this point is good progress. Any sort of stability is good stability. So I'll take it, and I'm excited to see what the football program does with it. I am interested to see how it is implemented in the other sports and what it means. I mentioned that Brad Brownell quote earlier. He didn't seem very happy. It makes you wonder, kind of what the future of the basketball program is and what ramifications there might be moving forward.
Yeah. I think it was pretty easy to figure out by the way that Dabo Swinney talked about it, that there were already plans being discussed, decisions being made, and they had a good understanding of what the revenue share would look like at Clemson going forward. And I think, to your point, it heavily favors Clemson football, as it should. That is the premier sport that carries the athletic department when it comes to Clemson athletics. That's what allows all these non-revenue generating sports, which I love a lot of them. I love watching them, but that's what allows them to have their new stadiums and their new workout facilities. And it's the money that the football program brings into the athletic department, right? So with that said, I don't think it was hard to figure out that they would get the lion's share of the money, right? That wasn't hard to figure out at all. Now, what I hope comes out of this House settlement is, they talked about this third party, I don't know what they call it, a board, whatever language they use to describe it, but this third party entity that has to vet NIL deals. My hope is that we don't immediately turn into that being sued, right? The minute that they say an NIL deal doesn't meet market value or whatever terms that they use that are legally acceptable, right? I hope that we don't turn into, we're suing that immediately or a player suing that immediately and it becomes pretty much obsolete, which I could totally see happening. It's the whole reason that NIL got completely out of control. What a lot of people don't realize out there is that everybody keeps saying the NCAA is not enforcing anything when it comes to NIL. Yeah, because they got sued and they lost every time. So eventually they just said, whatever, man, do what you want. You're just going to sue me anyway. So, right? Tennessee, Nico. So that's why NIL got where it is now, right? Which was essentially a pay for play, because the minute that the NCAA stepped in and tried to regulate anything, and believe me, far be it from me to defend the NCAA like they're some buttoned up organization. They're not. They're a bunch of clowns. And they're the reason that we're in this situation today. But they did try to enforce some sort of rules around NIL. It just didn't work because they got sued, antitrust lawsuits. They lost. The entire state of Tennessee went after them. Like, it is what it is, right? Go look it up. So that's why we ended up where we are today, where it's just kind of pay for play. This big time booster can go look at Bryce Perry-Wright, for example, and be like, I'll pay him $5 million to come to X school. I'm just throwing out hypothetical numbers out here. These are not real.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just saying it could happen that a very rich person could be like, hey, I'll pay him, how much does he need? What will it take for him to come here? Done. Right? There's nothing preventing that right now. Nope. Right? That's the problem that I have with NIL. I have no issues with college athletes making money from doing an autograph signing, from doing a youth camp, from doing a meet and greet with fans, from doing selling jerseys, selling merch, appearing in a commercial, whatever. Legitimate business deal to make money because of their name, because they're known as X athlete at X university, right? No issue with that. Go make as much money as you possibly can. This is America. This is about the free market. This is about capitalism. You go make as much money as you possibly can, right? Where I have a problem is a bunch of rich people just throwing money at 17, 18-year-olds and their families to try to coerce them into coming to a university. I think that has no part in college football. And I think that will be the death of college football if we don't get it out of college football, right? So my hope with the House settlement and this quote unquote entity that is going to now review NIL deals is that they will actually be able to do their job and vet them as actual business deals. If it's an actual business deal, I ain't got no problem with it. But if it's not, if it's pay for play, it's got no part in college football. Get rid of the pay for play, make it true NIL with the revenue share on top of it that they're going to be getting paid from the universities. With on top of that, they're getting paid scholarship money. On top of that, they're getting paid stipend money. On top of that, they're being very well taken care of in these high-level college football programs anyway, right? So that's my whole point. That's my hope for it. Now, take your rose-colored glasses off and get down to reality. That's not how it's going to go at all. The first NIL deal that is said to not meet market value or not be legitimate or whatever verbiage they want to use by this group that kind of vets them, they're going to get sued. It's going to blow up, and it's going to be a huge mess again. But at least for the time being, we can have a little bit of hope that there's going to be some guardrails on NIL. And I think if you're being honest with yourself as a college football fan and as anybody who truly cares about college football, you don't want pay for play either. It's not good. It's not good for anybody. It's just really not. So that's where I'm at with it. I'm excited about the rev sharing. I think the schools should have had to pay these players much earlier than now. It's part of the reason that I have such an issue with the NCAA, because if the NCAA would have just started bending a little bit years ago, we wouldn't be where we are, where there's, 27 different states with 27 different laws on NIL, and that's why it's such a damn mess, right? We would have a central, and that's another thing. College football needs a central governing body, right? Like there needs to be a person or a group of people that run college football, not conference commissioners, not university presidents, not TV executives, somebody that is in charge of college football, the sport, and looking out for just the sport of college football, not looking out for the ACC, not looking out for the SEC, so on and so forth, not looking out for ESPN or Fox, looking out for college football, right? And until we have that, I think we're going to continue to have a lot of these issues. So that's my kind of 2 cents. I know there was a lot in there, but I am excited about the revenue sharing. It was a long time coming, and I'm happy that some of the players in the past got a little bit of money as well.
Yeah, 100%. With changes like this, you gotta you got to weigh the positives and kind of focus on those, because I mean, I do think it's good for the players, and I'm excited for them. I think it'll help Clemson in particular. And so I'm excited to see how they implement it. I'm sure there'll be some growing pains along the way, but ultimately, it's something that I think could wind up being pretty beneficial for the school and for the athletic program. So I'm excited.
Yeah, same here. Very excited. So let us know what you guys think. What do you think about the revenue sharing model? What do you think about NIL? Do you think that this new governing body should be able to vet NIL deals? How do you think that goes? You guys let us know down in the comments below. We appreciate your guys' help with that. 22 people in the live chat right now. Thank you guys so much for being here. I don't know if you guys knew this or not, but the voice of college football, we have our very own website. That's right. You heard what I said. We have our very own website, the voice of college football. This is where you can find all of the, not only show schedules that you see off to the left here, you see all the different articles. We got various writers that write for the voice of college football about a bunch of different teams. There's the different channels and talks about the hosts that are on the different shows that you see on YouTube. You have different forums on there, and you can get on there and read stories about your team, about other stories, just stories in general about college football. But essentially, it's your one-stop shop for all things college football. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, go check it out. It's the voice of college football. VOCFB.com. That's VOCFB.com. Go check it out, make an account, and I promise you guys won't regret it. All right, guys. Like I said, 27 people in the live chat. Thank you so much for being here. Hit that like button. We got one more topic to cover tonight, and then we're going to get to the comment sections. Okay, guys? So I promise, stick out with us for a few more minutes. We got one more topic we're going to cover, and then we're going to turn the show over to you guys and let you guys drive the rest of the show. So if that excites you, hit that like button. Stick with us through this last topic, and we'll get to all your comments, questions, concerns, anything you want to chop it up with us at the end of the show. Go ahead and get it into the live chat section now. EA College Football 2026, Jordan. The second iteration of this game since it's been back, Jordan. It's crazy that this is the second rendition of it since it's been back. Again, everybody knows who has loved college football for a long time. We waited all the way from 2014 to 2025 to get a college football game back. One of the few great things that came out of NIL, I guess, is the rebirth of EA College Football. And we've obviously enjoyed it. But EA College Football 2026 comes out. Jordan, what are you hearing about the game? What are some of the updates? And then we're going to talk about some of the ratings that they gave our top name Clemson Tigers.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, I've seen quite a bit of the early access gameplay. I've already pre-ordered it, so I'm going to get the game 3 days early on the 7th, and I know the official drop is on the 10th. So I've got a couple of online dynasty groups already set up. We're picking teams. I know I'm Georgia Tech in one of them. I think and I picked Louisville in another. So I'm really excited. But the early access gameplay looks cool. I mean, a defense I'm really excited about. They've implemented like custom zones, and you can run stunts and twists now. That's been sorely missing from EA football games in general. So that's exciting. DBs don't have eyes in the back of their head, so they're not picking you off, even though they're playing the receiver. So if they don't have their head turned around, they won't get an interception. That's a really good addition. So, you know, I really like how they've revamped Dynasty in terms of recruiting. You know, the official visits are location based in terms of how much recruiting hours they cost, all sorts of stuff. Road to Glory, they have like a hat ceremony. They've overhauled the transfer portal. You know, they've done a lot. It's clear that they listen to the community. So I'm excited for the game. And when I get free time, I'm definitely going to be all over it when it drops. So might call a day off work or something.
Hey, there you go. Might be sick that day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to hear that they're not treating it like Madden and just recycling the game year after year. So that's good. But yeah, I know everybody's out there excited about the game drop. I know you are as well. So wanted to look at a couple of our top name Tigers and where the game had them rated, and if we have any thoughts on their ratings. So TJ Parker obviously headlines the list of Tigers. No big surprise there. He's a 95 overall, followed by Peter Woods. He's a 94 overall. Then you got Avion Terrell is a 92 overall. Blake Miller, 92 overall, and followed out the top that are 90 or above, with Cade Klubnik at a 92 overall. So 5 Tigers inside that 90 or above ranking. What are your thoughts on those 5 guys and where they're sitting?
Yeah, I think it's really exciting. You know, I love whenever you get to see the ratings, especially now that, you know, it's college now, and you get to see like the players react to their rankings and all of that. From a Clemson standpoint, you know, you listed those numbers. I don't have too many issues with kind of the ratings. There's probably some players that are underrated in this ranking. You know, I think Antonio Williams is like I think I think he should at least be a 90 overall. It's me personally. Maybe I'm being a homer. But, you know, all in all, I think Clemson actually has the most players with 90 or with a 90 or above. I might be wrong about that. It might be Alabama. But they obviously, EA showed a lot of love to Clemson in terms of the ratings, because even some of their because although they might have underrated some players, I think they certainly gave a lot of love to other players in their rankings. I think the running back room is honestly higher rated than I think I was expecting. I think Adam Randall is like an 86, 87 overall.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Being a running back in one game.
Yeah, I think Keith Adams is he's like an 83. Don't know where they got that ranking from. I'm not going to complain. Jay Haynes is in the 80s. So, you know, I think, you know, Clemson honestly might have I was kind of interested to see what their running back room would look like in the game, but it might be pretty good. So I think Clemson might be a fun team to play with online. So that's exciting. But I think, you know, of the guys you named, I think, you know, TJ Parker is probably properly rated. I think he's the best edge in the game in terms of overall ranking. He's not at a 95 overall. I think Peter Woods is underrated slightly. I would probably have him the same rating as TJ Parker, but that's like it's a 1 overall difference. So, you know, I'm being. I think
part of that is probably the time that he spent out at edge last year, and it was clearly not his natural position. So I think a little bit of that probably bled into his rating.
Yeah. And you know, I saw a ranking like the other week that didn't have Peter Woods. This one guy didn't have Peter Woods in his top like 48 college football, like players in college football rating. I was like, okay, what? Yeah. I think last year did a number on people's perception of Peter Woods, even though when he was playing edge, he was fine. He was pretty good. Like he played the position pretty well. It's just he went from an elite talent on the interior to a pretty good talent on the edge, and I guess that's enough to bump you out of the top 50 of any sort of college football player ranking. I don't know, that was ridiculous.
No, I think way off. if you don't have Peter Woods inside the top 50, like you're way off.
Yeah, I mean, he might be the first defensive tackle taken off the board.
Yeah.
Come on, man. What are we doing?
There's no way. There's no way. But yeah, one of the things that I saw interesting is Blake Miller there at a 92. I think that's well deserved. And then one of the other interesting things that I saw as a part of his rating is his injury is a 99. And that's just the dude is as durable as it comes. He's just there. He's always there.
Yeah.
He's always since the day he walked on campus, he's always been there.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of one of those things where I found that little like sub rating interesting that they gave him the 99 there, which I think is obviously well deserved.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, all in all, I don't have too many gripes with the rankings. I did see the speed ratings. They came out before like the overall rankings, like they thought the fastest players in the game. Obviously, I didn't see Bryant Wesco on the list. I didn't see Cole Turner, which I figured they would not rank Cole Turner's speed high because they just listen. We're still talking about EA devs. They don't, and they're having to do ratings for 130 plus FBS teams. It is what it is. They're going to get some stuff wrong, but Bryant Wesco. I think he's got to be
big rosters. Like, I mean, 130 teams, and then like each team has 100 plus guys on the roster. So
it's not an enviable job, but like you got to at least hit on some of the more notable players. Like if Bryant Wesco, I think his speed rating is only like a 91, 92. I think that's just it needs to be higher.
Aaron Terrell on here as a 92.
Yeah.
Speed.
I don't hate that. I mean, AV's not slow. Yeah, he's pretty fast. But I don't think he's like a burner. So I'm okay with 92 speed. But like Bryant Wesco is faster than him. So if Bryant Wesco is a 92, like that doesn't make any sense.
No.
Bryant Wesco is arguably the fastest player on the team. I mean, if you talk to people on the team, they'll say Cole Turner. I don't know if that's based off of like straight line speed, who would win a foot race or in pad. Bryant Wesco looks faster to me in pads. So, but either way, those two need to be bumped up higher in terms of their speed because I mean Cole Turner can run, like so don't get me wrong.
He can. Yeah, he's a burner. He's a burner for sure. Don't let his little stature fool you. He will run right past you.
Oh yeah, and I mean, and honestly, we can't even call with the size he's put on this offseason.
That's true.
We might not be able to call. I mean, he hasn't bloated up or anything, but he's definitely gotten stronger over the offseason from all accounts. So that's scary. A guy with his frame, his catch. I mean, his length and his speed, moving with a little bit more bulk and weight to him. Yeah, that's exciting. I
still remember that crazy catch over along the sideline. I can't even remember who we were playing, but he made some ridiculous catch.
Was it the SMU one where I think that was his? Was that his first touchdown of the game or no? It might have been his second.
Yeah, I don't know.
He caught it between two. Cade threw a perfect ball, split the safety, and he broke the tackle and scored, and that put Clemson up pretty big in that first half, and it was a huge reason why they were able to hold on. So, I think this is overall. I think EA did a pretty respectable job. I just have some minor gripes, and I think they did pretty good with the stadium. They corrected some things that were wrong in last year's game. So hopefully they don't keep playing Sandstorm in the fourth quarter. That wasn't just a Clemson thing. They for some reason the game just loved playing Sandstorm. They had some weird things going on with some of the audio.
And blasphemy, man! You can't play that in Clemson.
Yeah, no, it was that was bad. That was horrendous. But
can't do that.
Yeah, and I think they did a lot better with the lighting in this game. The entrance looks so much better. Like it's brighter. I think the Clemson orange is and how it contrasts with the sunlight. It definitely looks more true to life than what it was last year. I think they like I said. I think EA overall they listen. At least their college football development team listened. Because they don't listen to their consumers across the board. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Definitely not. But they're listening to the college football consumers. So that probably has something to do with the record-breaking rollout that thing had. So they're trying to maintain that level of excitement around the game. All right, guys, make sure you are checking out the Voice of College Football on Twitter and Instagram. We have a Twitter page. We have an Instagram page. Please go check us out on both of those. If you're on any of those platforms, just search the Voice of College Football. It'll pop up, and you guys can give us a follow there. Be greatly appreciated. Don't forget our website, as I mentioned before, and then certainly – follow me and Jordan over on Twitter as well. Jordan's a great follow over on Twitter, JOBO0209. That's Jobo0209 over on X. My handle over on X is TPC_CFB. That's TPC_CFB. You see it right there on the bottom of the page. And your follow there will be greatly appreciated, guys. With that said, we have made it to the end of the planned portion of the show. We've got 32 people in the live chat. Please hit that like button while you're in here. And while you're in here, consider subscribing, getting us closer to that 6,000 subscriber goal. We're getting ever so closer to the college football season. Content's going to start ramping up. Excitement's going to start ramping up. We would love to be your one-stop shop for all things Clemson football, all things college football throughout the entirety of the 2025 college football season. So if that sounds like something you want to do, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our live videos or any of our other content that we post throughout the week. And with that said, thank you guys so much for being here. And we are going to turn it over to the comment section and see what you guys are talking about.
Let's do it. All right. John asked, what's the deal about teams earning extra money the more they're chosen to play in the game? Yeah, I did hear about that. I guess they have sort of I'm sure they have, data collection that'll, determine how much each school has gotten use in the game. I think that's cool. It's a cool way to, kind of incentivize. I think it's a good way for the fan base and play to kind of contribute to what their school is getting.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. But yeah, it's a neat idea. Intelligence Habit says, yes, sir. I just won the Heisman Trophy on College Football 25 with TJ Parker, and Peter Woods was runner-up and leading the race most of the season. Yeah. You can really rack up the tackles for. I used to, especially when I do my offline dynasties, like when you learn the game, you can certainly run it up on the CPU, especially like the sack numbers. Like I line up in double mug and blitz and blitz them to death,
just killing the quarterback.
Yeah. And just murdering. I remember one edge rusher that I recruited him. He's a 5-star, but he had elite development trait. And by his senior year, he was like a 98. And I think I had like 29 and a half sacks with him in one season, one time, and he won the Heisman. So the game is fun like that. I'm excited to see kind of if they make the CPU smarter. From what I've been told from the people that were I know that were able to play the beta, the CPU is smarter. At least it feels like, because Heisman mode in College Football 25 was too easy. So you could basically do whatever you wanted, and as long as you knew the cheat plays, the cheese plays on offense and defense, you'd be good, because you could glitch out the CPU defenders at basically every time, or their offensive line. So I've been told it's a lot different in terms of how the CPU plays. It's a lot smarter. It makes adjustments at the snap or prior to the snap and stuff. So excited to see whether or not that actually is true or not, because it definitely made the offline dynasty, especially, like, it got repetitive after a while. The replay value wasn't the same, and that reminds me, with all the other things that they changed, like the dynasty mode, the overhauling, how the recruiting system works, and they've also overhauled the overall system, because that certainly made no sense either. So I'm excited to see kind of how all of that plays out, because their whole algorithm was messed up on that.
Didn't the players get paid a little bit more this go round?
I haven't seen the numbers, but I would hope so. I mean, I would hope so. That was, how much did they get last year? It was like a couple hundred.
Did they get like $750 last year?
Yeah.
And a copy of the game?
Yeah. Oh, that was something. That was something.
Oh man, that's still funny.
That was a joke.
He said, "Well, hey, y'all want a Happy Meal? Hey, we'll give you the game too." Oh, that's funny.
Intelligence Savage also mentions the punter. What's up with the news of a punter coming to our Tigers? Yeah.
Charlie Reed.
Yeah.
Straight fresh off the soccer team.
Fresh off the soccer team.
Fresh off the soccer team. Charlie Reed. Ian Reed's brother.
Mm-hmm.
Fun fact.
Former backup, yeah, and former backup goalkeeper. I
punted and kicked in high school, so
yeah, he punted and kicked in high school. It can't hurt. He's walking on, so I mean, it's not like you're using a scholarship or anything, but you can see if he works out. Any competition is good competition at this point. I just don't even feel like expending energy talking about punter, because it just is like, I'm just gonna cross my fingers and hope that it's not too bad and that we don't have to punt too much. That's basically where I'm at.
That's kind of where I'm at. But adding a guy that's going to walk on to the mix, I'm not mad at it.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe yeah, certainly cannot hurt at this point, because I don't think we're in a great place where we're at. So, add somebody to the room. Maybe it, changes the chemistry in the room. Who knows?
Arthur asked an interesting question. He says, with the new additions to the men's basketball roster, what do you guys think the ceiling is?
Ooh.
I really don't know what to think about this roster so far.
It's interesting.
I like the additions. Like,
yeah.
I like all the additions individually. I'm just interested to see how it meshes.
I mean, essentially, we brought in an entire new Clemson team.
Yeah,
like
minus what Dylan Hunter, and you brought back RJ Godfrey.
Minus like 3 players.
Yeah.
So, that's, I don't know, that's kind of tough, because you can like to your point, Jordan, you can like the individual pieces, but like, how does all of those fit together as a cohesive team in one off season? Right. So like, that's a tall task for the coaching staff to kind of like get those dudes in, get them to learn the system, get them to learn, what Brad Brunell likes to run and how he likes to operate and all that kind of stuff. So that's, I don't know. Like, do other teams do that in college basketball? Like, literally replace entire rosters? Like,
yeah, I mean,
it seems like a massive feat. And if I'm being honest, it could go great or it could go terrible. And that's probably not like a great answer, but like, I always have a lot of caution when you like literally replace everybody. I don't think that's ever a good thing, in my opinion. But that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, how many? What you added 6 transfers, and listen, I like all of them individually. I mean, I think Nick Davidson is going to have to step up big. You don't have a huge, you don't really have a true big man now. I mean, Christian Reeves is gone, Ian Shefflin is gone, Victor Locken is gone. So like he's gonna have to carry a lot of the scoring. I mean, he was Nevada's leading scorer last year. I like the additions you made at guard. I think Justin Porter is going to end up being a really good player for you. And so I'm just interested to see how it all fits. Dylan Hunter being the glue guy, I'm interested. I want to see kind of how his role evolves now that because I would expect he takes a little bit more of a scoring role. I don't know if he'll be he'll ever be the a primary offensive option, but definitely as a facilitator, I want to see how he develops. He has the highest assist to turnover ratio in Clemson history right now. So I mean that says a lot. And obviously when he went down, you saw the difference in kind of how the team cohesively played together. Getting RJ Godfrey is back. That presence. He's kind of undersized, but he's athletic. I think he's developed a little bit of his jump shot. So if he can give you a little bit of an outside presence too, that certainly helps because he's a strong dude that is a capable rebounder, capable defender. Glad to have him back in the system. He's familiar with the system. So I think that helps a ton. So, I mean, honestly, I see the pieces individually, and I say, I think this is another NCAA tournament team, but I don't know. I can't say that as confidently just because of how much turnover there is. And Brad Brownell's system is, I mean, it's a demanding system. I mean, if you're not going to play defense, you don't play unless you can shoot the ball extremely, extremely well. Offensively, a lot of high-low stuff. It's not the most complicated offense in the world, but you need smart players that are good with the basketball. Don't turn it over because you're not going to play you don't play a ton of high possession games. So every possession matters a little bit more. So you got to be good with the basketball, and you got to be able to take care of the basketball and facilitate it and run the offense. So all those things, I think when you consider it, I see the vision. I see how this team could come together, but I'm still in wait and see mode with this group because everything is so new, pretty much. That was my long basketball.
Yeah, I'm with you.
We'll see. Daniel says, I'm nervous. Nuss is either going to throw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns or 3 interceptions, no middle. Yeah, I mean, listen, neither result would surprise me too much. He is very feast or famine, but when he's on, he's on. He can make any throw. I mean, he's an incredible talent. And honestly, I don't think a lot of it, his interception issues last year were all on him. I mean, I do think LSU's receiver room was a considerable step back from what we've been used to seeing from them.
Yeah.
Obviously, the additions they made in the portal helped. Nick Anderson, Barian Brown, returning Aaron Anderson, and those in that group. I definitely think they upgraded the receiver room a good bit. They have a lot of speed. They're going to test Clemson's secondary from that standpoint. So we'll see kind of whether that matriculate or that turns into more productive passing. If they can run the football, I think that's ultimately the biggest determining factor of whether or not LSU's offense is successful, because they could not do it last year, and they're not lacking backs. They just offensive line struggled at times, and they're obviously they're replacing two first round tackles, and so that
they have to be able to run the ball. Particularly against this Clemson front, they got to be able to run the ball at least a little bit to make Clemson's defense respected, because if not, and Clemson's, Tom Allen and Clemson's defense is able to just kind of pin their ears back and get after Nussmeier, it could become a long day for him. Right. Even with the addition of, those great receivers through the transfer portal that you mentioned, if you can't make them respect the run, they're going to come after him and he's going to be, just kind of trying to make things happen. And that tends to be when your stuff breaks down and mental mistakes happen. Try to force the ball, try to do too much. And then suddenly you're 2 turnovers in to a game and it's getting out of hand. Right. So, that'll be I think the big factor on how much success he has passing the ball is whether they can run.
Yeah. Got to help your quarterback out.
Got to. Can't leave him out there by himself.
No. And obviously a lot of new on that offensive line. We'll see how it meshes in week 1. Let's see. Joe says it's a safe bet the Tigers will win. Yeah.
Yeah.
True. That is 100% a fact.
That is. Yeah. That's. Hey.
Jay
on July 3rd.
Yeah.
Tigers will win.
Calling a shot. Jay says BYOG or sell a Clemson safety achieves all ACC honors. Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, that's a lofty goal.
All ACC. Well, and it's not just the performance of the Clemson safeties, but like who else in the league?
Right.
Trying to think of the safeties that are back. Think about this. Miami, no, Miami safety is worth talking in that discussion, at least right now, as it stands right now. Georgia Tech. Oh, what's that kid's name? They had a couple of really good safeties last year. I think they're both back. Let's see. I'll buy it because, listen, I do think Clemson will probably have at least a top 2 record, top 2 or 3 record in the ACC. Mm-hmm. Obviously these all ACC voters, a lot of times they vote based off of hype, who has the best, who had the best team or best record. There a lot of things go into that. I'll buy it because I do think there are options that can step up. I could totally see, Ricardo Jones stepping in and being an all ACC type player. Ronan Hannafin, with the progression he's made this offseason, come in and be an all ACC type player. Kylan Griffin has been in the system a long time. He somehow ends up with the football. He gets interceptions. So statistically that might look good. And Khalil Barnes, obviously we know what he can be when he's on. I think he's absolutely an all ACC caliber player. So I'll buy it. I think you have some capable players that we've seen can do it and play at a high level. So, one of them, all you need is one of them to put in. And there's 3 all ACC teams. So that's and so I guess 6 spots. If you're one of the best teams in the league, I see no reason why you couldn't.
They should have at least one.
Yeah.
In that group.
Yeah. Let's see. Rob Ellen says, hopefully Reed will be the punter equal to former kicker Obed Oriri. Yeah, that's the name. I don't know if we should put those kind of expectations on him, but why not? Honestly, it just
speak it into existence.
Yeah. Yeah, Tiger Tom mentions Donald Igwebuikwe. Yeah. Obviously, he was, phenomenal. He was with. Did he ever? I know he played soccer at Clemson. Did he play professionally? I'm pretty sure he did.
I think so. Yeah.
Did he go on to play professionally? I'm pretty sure he did. But he was obviously kicker on that 1981 squad. Yeah. Came up big.
I've been telling Dabo to go to the soccer team, so.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's
good,
and I mean, especially when you have a soccer team that's won the most national championships of any athletic program.
It's not like they're not good.
Yeah, no, they've got some legs.
And what do soccer dudes normally do in high school? Kick for football teams.
Yeah.
Like every kicker I ever had in high school was off the soccer team.
Let's see. Joe says, but seriously, the Tigers of Clemson have the edge at head coach, quarterback, and team experience returning. But I'm guessing it's at LSU since you're worried. No, it's at Clemson.
No.
I think a lot of the nervousness comes from, hey, listen, Clemson has not beaten a team of LSU's caliber in probably 3-4 years.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while.
And in terms of the level of talent, I don't really think there's. The Notre Dame win in 2023, but that team that was a very flawed Notre Dame team.
And you come in with, and one of the other things, like you come in with all this hype, right? Like all this national media hype, all this stuff is, Clemson's, they got the recipe this year, the quarterback, all the returning starters. But the worry is, you got to do it on the field, right? You can return all you want, and you can, construct a great staff, which I think Dabo has done. But you got to go do it on the field.
Yeah.
And anytime you got a big time team like LSU coming to town week 1, that's a nerve-wracking game. I don't care who you are. If that don't make you nervous, then, well, I don't know.
Yeah. No,
I know LSU is not, they're not, considered like the best team in the country right now, but they're still a very, very talented football team, capable of coming in your house and beating you. So I will be nervous probably up until kickoff, so
100%.
When you're playing big time opponents like that, home or away, that's nerve wracking.
Yeah,
that's what makes it fun, though. I love games like this. We
don't have enough of them, honestly.
We don't. The anticipation, the build up, all the talking is fun, man. It's a lot of fun. But I'm definitely worried about the game. There's no part of me that's like, oh yeah, Clemson's definitely winning this game.
Yeah, I don't
feel that way.
And it's LSU is talented, but there's so much that's unknown. So It's like
that's the other piece is the unknown.
It's almost more uncomfortable than if they were coming into this game
you knew exactly what they were going to be.
Yeah, they brought in all these transfers on defense. They've brought in a couple of some big time transfers at wide receiver and on the offensive line.
Defense is supposed to be improved. Offensive line is supposed to be improved. Receiver supposed to be improved. They got their Heisman candidate quarterback back. There's things to be worried about.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I rightfully think Clemson is the favorite in this game. I think Clemson, as it stands right now, I would say is the better team, but we don't really know that until those teams actually play. So I'm cautious. The spread is it's 2.5 for a reason. LSU absolutely can come in and win that game, and there's a lot of pressure on both sides to win.
It's basically a coin flip game according to the odds makers, because 2.5 is just because it's in Clemson. Like that's a home field advantage nod. Like that's all 2.5 is. They're saying these two teams are a coin flip. So, yeah, I think we're all nervous. Got to get through fall camp.
Yeah.
Then we'll see.
Yeah,
Let's get through fall camp first. And then we can start gauging confidence level heading into the LSU game.
Yeah. Warm Biscuit says all ACC honors should be Khalil Barnes to lose, assuming Shelton Lewis starts at Tiger and KB at free safety. Yeah, I definitely think Khalil Barnes would be he'd probably be the closest. He'd be the one I'd pick first, most proven commodity. And I'm excited to see a healthy Shelton Lewis back. I'm interested to see kind of where he factors in.
He's really good when he's healthy.
Played nickel again. I tend to think so, but.
Yeah, I think he'll be nickel again.
Let Khalil and one of probably the other safeties I mentioned, kind of battle it out, figure that out. Dana says, "What's the biggest track game between at Georgia Tech, at Louisville, at South Carolina?" Well, South Carolina, by definition, can't be a trap game. I mean, I don't think a rivalry game at the end of the season can be a trap game. Clemson's never going to overlook that game.
Trap game, I would say Louisville, just because of where it falls.
Yeah, but is Louisville even really a trap game because they beat Clemson last year?
No, I mean it's not. No, it's not a true. I don't think any of those are true trap games. So my real answer would be none of those. But if I had to pick one, it would be the Louisville, just because of how it falls, not only on the calendar, but the day of the week.
Yeah.
You're coming off of not LSU. You're coming off of FSU.
Mm.
Say what you want about them. We all think they're going to be better this year. How much better? That's to be determined. I don't think they can get worse. But you're coming off of Florida State, short week, and you're going into Louisville on Friday. So not a true trap game, but a game where there's a lot of things probably not working in your favor. Weird things happen on Friday. Home dogs are not home dogs just play well on Fridays for whatever reason. Look at college football over the past couple of years. Friday home dogs, you don't want to be that person going to that stadium. So that game kind of stands out to me a little bit. Georgia Tech's really early in the year, so trap game, I don't know. What's that, the third game of the season?
Yeah.
Yeah, we play LSU, then we play can't remember whoever.
Charleston, no.
Some small school.
Yeah.
Whoever it is.
Blanking on who it is.
Whoever it is.
Is it Furman?
Might be Furman. Might be Furman. And then Georgia Tech. So I don't think Georgia Tech's going to sneak up on us at all. But I do think Georgia Tech's got that game circled. They really want that game. And we're actually playing.
No, it's Troy. It's Troy. That's who it is.
Troy.
Yeah.
Troy. That's it. Yeah, Troy, then Georgia Tech. And we're actually playing at Georgia Tech, not the not Mercedes-Benz Stadium, where Georgia Tech likes to sell out their home games too.
Yeah, no, we're actually playing at Bobby Dodd.
Yeah, we're playing at Bobby Dodd, not the Mercedes-Benz Dome.
Yeah. All right.
Speaking of that, Georgia Tech, stop doing that crap, man.
Yeah, no, it's
play in your home stadium.
Right.
If I was a Georgia Tech fan, I'd be so pissed off. Like, what?
It makes no sense.
Man, get out of here, bro. You can't be taken serious when you're selling out your home games to an NFL stadium. I'm sorry. You just no.
Yeah.
No, we ain't doing that.
Arthur Moss says, if we win the national championship this year, do you think Dabo will get his credit as the best coach in college football since Nick Saban retired?
I don't know if he'll get that, but
yeah.
I think he will get his props for doing it his way.
Yeah.
I think he will get that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Nick Saban stuff, I don't know.
I mean, if Dabo wins a third national title this year, I mean, there's no question he's in rarefied air in terms of college football head coaches. I don't know if he'll get that specific accolade, like he's the best since Nick Saban.
Right.
Although you certainly could make a very, very good argument. I mean, who else would you put in that conversation? Pete Carroll was great. His peak was really great, but obviously he spent most of his time in the NFL. Urban Meyer, I guess, would be the one. I mean, he won 3 national titles at 2 different schools.
Yeah, Urban Meyer, Kirby Smart.
Yeah, Kirby, but Dabo would have more titles than Kirby.
He would
if he wins. So I would make that. You could certainly make the argument, especially he did it at one school and at a place like Clemson that doesn't have the same advantages as a Florida or an Ohio State or a Georgia. So
it wouldn't be ridiculous to put his name up there.
Yeah.
Especially as you mentioned, the school he's doing it at.
Yeah.
Not your traditional powerhouse, not a blue blood, not a school with a ton of resources. Just a school that he literally built from the ground up. Not that we never had any football success. I'm not saying that.
Yeah,
but
we weren't considered one of the top programs in the sport.
Yeah, we were never considered what we have been considered at points and times in Dabo's tenure.
Yeah. All right. Let's do a couple more. Jay says, who has the biggest impact next season, Vic Burley or Amari Adams? I'm going to say Vic Burley. I do think he came along this spring. But Amari Adams is a guy is going to be tough to keep off the field. I just think
he's going to be a problem, man.
He's going to be a problem. But I do think you're going to see a lot from Vic Burley, Stephon Green, especially. And I do think there will be a seniority thing involved. But Amari Adams is a guy I think he's going to be tough to not play at times. So, but I'll say Vic Burley. I still am very much a believer in Vic Burley, and I think he flashed a good bit this spring with full. He has had his opportunity to get healthy, get right, and I think he's ready for a bigger role. So he would be my pick. But it would not surprise me if we're at the end of the season we're talking about Amari Adams, just being too good. Not. No,
he's definitely one of those guys that I feel like he's going to be one of those, freshmen that just kind of role grows as the year goes, right?
Yeah.
That's how I view him.
Such a good defensive tackle room, man. It's gonna be tough to take guys off.
It's really good. It's really deep. And those first 2 that are going to run out there are elite.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you got Peter Woods and DeMonte Capehart running out there first with Parker and Will Help. Jesus, that's a heck of a first team, man.
Oh yeah.
And there's some good dudes behind all of those guys. So I'm excited. I'm excited about the D-line this year. I'm excited for them to kind of reassert themselves back to what we expect from defensive linemen at Clemson this year. Because let's be honest, we had a lot of big names last year, and we left a lot to be desired along that defensive line.
Yeah.
So those guys have some stuff to prove this season.
Oh yeah.
And I know how good they are, so I'm not slighting them at all, but they got some stuff to prove on the field this season.
Yep. And it's crazy because, I mean, if you had told me before the season that Clemson would have a double-digit sack player, that I mean, oh man, Clemson's defensive line, they must have
went crazy,
really showed out,
but they didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't.
Not the way we thought, and it wasn't completely just play on the field. Obviously, Peter Woods, obviously kicking him out to end was obviously lessened his effectiveness, and then he got hurt the second game of the year. So, that basically, I mean, you couple all those things together, and then obviously DeMonte Capehart and his injury issues. That it was a trying year for the defensive line in terms of health. So I do think that can't be discounted in a healthier group this year, and with obviously the addition of Will Help and obviously the maturation of the younger guys in that room. I think you're in better shape than you were last year.
Yeah, and I think some good came out of it too, right? Like you mentioned the injuries to Capehart and Peter Woods. I think that and then how that affected the performance. One, I think that creates some hunger coming into this year. And wanting to prove some things. Two, I think it helps us keep Capehart for another season, because I think if he would have had the season that we thought he was going to have last year, he would not be back this season. He would have went on to the NFL. So, there's some good that comes out of it, along with all the injuries and the trying times that we had along the defensive line.
Absolutely. All right, let's do a couple more and then get on out of here. I'm starting to get dark because I forgot my ring light. So that's great. I look like I'm in the shadows right now.
I got an anonymous guest for you guys tonight. Okay, he's answering.
I look like a locked character on a fighting game right now.
That's right. One of them people are giving an interview, but they want to stay anonymous. So just like their face is like just out of reach.
All right. John asked, will LSU have the best running back group we'll face? Hell of a defensive turnaround test out of the gate. The best? Let me see. Let me think of this. Who else? Louisville is the only one I would put up there. Yeah.
Probably.
They're either one or two. I think Louisville's is right there with Isaac Brown and Duke. Duke Thomas. That's his name, right? It's Duke Thomas. That's his last name. Yeah. But yeah, LSU is certainly up there. They're either way. I put them either one or two. Let me think before I solidify that. North Carolina, Georgia Tech, they lost it. I mean, they had a good running back room. Jamal Haynes is back, right? But he's injured. He was injured last year, so maybe I probably put Georgia Tech over North Carolina. SMU. I expect them to have good backs every year. I mean, in Rhett Lashley's system, they'll have a productive back, but I don't know if I would put them on the level of like Louisville. Yeah, I'd put Louisville and then maybe LSU. But I think LSU potentially could be over Louisville by the end of the year especially if Caden Durham, if he develops in that offense and they get him involved the way that I think that he could be utilized. I mean, he's the guy that scares me the most. And on that LSU offense, arguably. I mean, the receivers are really good, don't get me wrong, but there's one thing that scares me right now with a Clemson defense that struggled, in the run game last year is a running back like Caden Durham that can beat you in so many different ways. Great receiver out of the backfield. He's a smaller body, he's tough to tackle, and he's fast. That's scary. If you get him matched up on a linebacker, you leak him out the backfield, somebody misses an assignment, wheel route, who knows? I don't know. There's some potential for him to do some damage. Let's see, let me get it going. Isaac, I'll hit yours. This will be the last one. He asks about Bryce Perry-Wright. I'm sure y'all covered it already, but how confident are y'all in us getting him this weekend? Not super confident. I'm hopeful. The A&M smoke is real. There's a lot of reasons for A&M to be confident right now, but we still have time, and I don't think Clemson is going to go quietly. We'll see. I think they'll put together a final pitch and say, here you go. But you just got to hope that – I think the hope for Clemson is that the player ultimately makes the decision, which, I mean, the way things are trending, it doesn't seem that way. So we'll see. I don't think it's over until he announces. He hasn't informed the staff of a decision yet. So it means there's still hope and there's still a shot. So let Coach Sweeney work his magic. See if you can put together hey, listen, it happened obviously to a lesser degree with Dre Quinn in Texas. There was a lot of smoke that Texas had swung the momentum in that recruitment. And they did make it a legitimate, tough decision for Dre, but Clemson ultimately swung that recruitment back in their direction when he ultimately made his decision. So, got to hope that the magic works again. But this one does feel a little bit different. I will say that.
It does. Unfortunately. But still got some hope. So, just got to trust in the coaching staff and hope that they can pull it out. That's all we can do.
That's all you can do. All right. Then that's going to do it for us.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for everybody that got comments and questions in, everybody that stayed and chatted up with us for the past 45 minutes or so while we were answering questions and comments. Really do appreciate each and every one of you for stopping by. We still got 30 people in the live chat. So do me one favor before you guys get out of here tonight. Please hit that like button for me and consider subscribing. Me and Jordan are going to start ramping up content as the season starts getting closer and closer. Try to have some guests on, some things like that as a treat to some of you guys out there. So stick with us, hit that subscribe button, and stick with us. Make us your one-stop shop for all things Clemson football throughout the 2025 college football season. We will be honored if you would stick it out with us. Appreciate your time tonight. Thank you guys showing up as you guys always do. Thank you so much. The show would not be a show without the listeners. So thank you guys. And this is our new time slot. So we're trying this out Thursday, 7 p.m. Let us know in the comments below what you think of the new time slot, if you have any opinions on that. And with all of that said, hope you guys have a great rest of the week. Enjoy your 4th of July weekend. Go have a barbecue, go swimming, spend time with family and friends, stay safe, and we'll see you next Thursday right here, 7 p.m. for the next edition of the All In Show. Until then, I'm Tiger Paul Craven. He's Jordan Bowman. Go Tigers, and happy 4th of July.
Later, y'all. Happy 4th.